It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 23rd of September. This is the C block, the Charlie block, which means we get into it right around 7:40 or so. We're not too bad, 7:43. Okay, yesterday, one of John's top three. John, give us a recap of this, and then we will make the phone call.
Yeah, so very briefly, last October, a Democrat named Michael Burton, who's a state representative, at some point in the 2024 cycle, Mr. Burton, Representative Burton, gave money to the St. Louis County Democratic Committee. And in return, Mr. Burton says that he wanted some information, like voter data, things like that. He said he couldn't get it. So he went to the St. Louis County Democrats campaign office in South St. Louis County. And the gentleman who ran the St. Louis County Democrats, named Jonathan Boesch, I believe it's Boesch or Boesch, had a confrontation with him. There was a physical altercation. I linked to it yesterday on johncombest.com. Folks can find it. Jack Suntrip originally identified it. There was a skirmish. Burton says that Jonathan grabbed him by the beard and assaulted him. Jonathan says that's not the case at all. That's where we pick it up. And yesterday, Brad, you said, Jonathan, after our show yesterday, and we could say that some folks were talking about it. I wouldn't share it with you because you would have make a big deal about it. But anyway, Mr. Boesch contacted you, and we'll pick it up there.
And he said, let me come on the air and tell my side of the story. So I'm hitting the button right now. I dialed already.
And explain to him, Brad, that because of your setup, I can't speak with him or interact with him.
I will. Okay. One ringy-dingy. Two ringy-dingies. Watch him not answer. Pretty sure I got the right number. Maybe he decided he didn't want to do this.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey, John, Brad Hildebrand, Brad and John Show. We're on the air till 8 o'clock. Right now it's 7:45. If you want to call me back, the number that came up on your phone, that is my cell phone number, 314-280-8880. If you call back within the next 10 minutes or so, we can still get you on the show. So once again, Brad Hildebrand, 314-280-8880. Now, John, let me double check to make sure I have the right number because it did come up on my phone as this correct number. Let me look at his text from yesterday and make sure I dialed the right number because I'm pretty sure I did. Where is he? Yes. Okay, 314. Yeah, that's the right number. So, and he told me, he said,
yeah, hey, maybe he missed the call. Maybe. You know what, Brad? Maybe he's in one of those locations that the Missouri Department of Broadband needs to deliver better broadband to.
Okay, and what's interesting about this is I will read what I said to him yesterday morning. I said, I will call you tomorrow around 7:45 a.m. His response was, fine, I'll talk then. But he said something after that, which quite honestly was very problematic to me. And I asked
Problematic? What was it, Brad?
I don't really even want to say it because...
Okay, I understand.
Because I asked him who he was referring to because he mentioned I'm not going to read it because it's...
Yeah, don't read it, Brad.
To me, it's very problematic. And I asked him to clarify that, and I didn't hear back. So maybe he's now gone underground.
And you know what? Maybe he just decided that he'd rather not talk about it. You know?
But the crazy thing about it was, I'll read the text. This is.
You don't have to read what he wrote, Brad.
No. I mean, this is how it started yesterday because I give my phone number on the air all the time because first off, people are going to say, how did he know how to contact you? I give my phone number out all the time, 314-280-8880. It's on all our websites. If you go to contact on almost any one of our websites, you click on contact, my phone number's there. And he says, this is John Boesch, whatever. Do you want to talk? And I said, always. And he says, no cuts. I'll do it live when you want. I'm honest, which sucks for some. And I said, you're on. Can you do 7:45 a.m. tomorrow? We can do this on the phone. He says, you're on. I can only comment in the past election. And that was his comment. So, and
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we gave him a shot. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just text him. Hey, John. Call me before 8. And I'll send that right now. Bonk, I'm sent. Okay, it's gone.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Brad. Maybe he changed his mind about talking about it, but I would assume. And when I read Jack Suntrip's story yesterday, Jack pointed out that John left his post, but it's pretty common for people to serve for an election and then move on and do something else. So I would just complete speculation. I would tend to agree, or I should say, I would tend to believe John when he says that leaving the Democratic Party post didn't have anything to do with the Michael Burton skirmish. I would just assume that he probably agreed to do it for a set period of time. The county Democrats probably agreed to pay him for a set amount of time. And then, it's August of when he left, it was August of a non-election year. Like, it's a good time for a staff member to leave because you don't really need them for at least for a few more months.
When we talked about this yesterday after he contacted me. I did a little bit of homework on this. You probably already saw this. Did you see the article? And this is an August 22nd article from St. Louis Magazine. Did you see this by any chance?
Can you be a little more vague?
Written by Ryan Krull. It says, St. Louis County Democrats Executive Director appears headed for the exit. Jonathan Boesch was accused of causing turmoil and even assaulting a Democratic lawmaker. Once again, Ryan Krull, Krull, you know who that is, August 22nd, 2025, 5:55 a.m. And it has a picture of Jonathan Boesch left. Looked like he's got someone in an arm lock. It looks like something that John would get into WWE. And on the right, it's like a two frame. On the right is, I assume that is the dude with the beard. What's his name again?
Michael Burton.
Burton, that on the right side. And he's in front of a microphone, which looks like a very expensive $3,000 microphone. So that's probably when he was on STLPR, because real broadcasters use $300 Shure RE20 microphones, but St. Louis Public Radio uses $3,000 Neumann U87s because you have to hear a little nuance for the audio. Because
it's mostly because Elaine speaks in a muted tone, Brad, and you should respect that.
Right, speaks in a muted tone. Okay, so we have no interview with John, which is what?
Hey, there's also tech stuff that happens, Brad. Maybe John's not able to do it, or maybe he thought, hey, maybe it's unwise to talk about it. Maybe we'll just let it go.
Oh, hold it. He just texted me back. He says, Brad, I moved to Franklin County, and I'm one of those 9,000 people you talked about who doesn't have any internet access. I'm sorry I can't do the interview. I'm just kidding, John.
Yeah, well, that happens, Brad. Now, Brad, speaking of local events, so I loved, by the way, I was able to look back up the your CAPS data. We got the actual official name of the group and everything like that. I loved your CAPS story from yesterday as well.
About the young lady that came up and talked to me?
Yeah. And we may or may not hear from those folks. But I in Googling the actual name of the program, I saw that it's like a real program.
Oh, yeah.
What a cool thing for youngsters to do.
And what I'm telling you because of the fact that I asked a couple of my teacher friends if this was true, and they told me it wasn't. I heard that if you go to school to become a teacher, that instead of your student teaching being on the very tail end of your education, like in your senior year, they stick you in a school like in your sophomore year, because so many teachers and this is a sad statistic, so many people who become teachers bail out after like year number 1, 2, or 3. They're gone. They're like, okay, this is not for me.
Oh, yeah, they're done with it.
Right. This is crazy time. I was trying to educate kids, and what am I doing? I'm, being a prison warden. I'm being, a person that's getting 14,000 memos from my school district saying I can't do this and I can't do that, and nobody really cares about what the kids are learning. They're just all worried about their pensions and stuff like that, like the Randy Weingartners of the world. But I see. The crazy thing about this is, I heard someone talk about this yesterday, and they talked about how dysfunctional our college system has gotten. And I will make an interesting parallel. Remember Sanford-Brown College?
Yeah, Sanford-Brown Business College. Yeah, of course, Brad.
There were all these private universities in the St. Louis area that disappeared all within like 2 years of one another. And do you know the reason for that, John?
Yeah, you've talked about it on the show, Brad. Explain it.
The reason was the federal government did research and said, okay, you're teaching court stenographer at Sanford-Brown, and of your 300 graduates last year, only 50 of them got a job as court stenographers, okay? And therefore, we think that's false advertising. Your placement rate is way low. You're teaching things that are not usable to the degree you say they are in the business world. So therefore, we're the federal government, and we control all the student loans anymore. And as the soup Nazi would say, no money for you.
Yeah, and that's what happened to Sanford-Brown. And what was the one that was like called the Gal School of Typing, or what was that called?
Well, matter of fact, I still know women that talk about the fact that they went to Miss Hickey's. Remember?
Miss Hickey's, that's what it was.
Miss Hickey's, and it was like a secretarial school. I believe it was in Clayton. I believe it might have been right down the street from the Esquire Theater. Somehow that address rings a bell. Somebody told me that's where they went to school at. And
now, a good way to tell that somebody didn't go to Miss Hickey's is if they wear a turtleneck for a few days in a row.
Right.
That's how you know they're covering up their Miss Hickeys.
I knew that John was going to come up with that. Okay, my point being, if you took that same reasoning of all the people that go to University of Missouri and get a degree in Greek archaeology, or what was some of the other? If they get a degree in English, what do you do with a degree in English other than teach English? You know what I'm saying, John?
No idea. What are you possibly going to do?
Right, and all the different degrees. Trust me, I went to my daughter's graduation. I went to my son. Well, I didn't go to my son's graduation because he skipped graduation because he was too busy getting ready to start his new job. But that's a whole other story. But all these degrees, and to a certain extent, my degrees are worthless. I've had them for a long time. I have worthless degrees. Worthless degrees.
But also, too, in defense of people who get like an English degree or something of, some sort of degree like that, you could do anything. Like you could be a carpenter. You could be an HR executive. It doesn't really matter what your degree is anymore, which also defeats the purpose of getting a degree.
But if you take the analogy that the federal government pulled all the funding for the private universities like the Sanford-Browns and things like that, if you take that same reasoning, that the reason they became defunded was because of the graduates did not get degrees in their chosen major, isn't it the same thing? I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Brad.
If you went to Sanford-Brown and you got a degree in court stenographer and you ended up working at a police department, you could say, let's say you ended up working for the county as a county jailer or something like that, or you still worked at a Starbucks, or you became a paralegal for some law firm. Couldn't the federal government say, well, they didn't get a job in their intended major? And the same thing like what you said, if someone gets an English degree and they end up, working in the library system, they didn't get a degree in that. There's a library science. Oh, by the way, man, did I get a nasty text yesterday from somebody that you and I both know. Boy, man, did I get...
Oh, about libraries.
Did I get ripped on that?
Well, she texted us both at
I know.
8:01 yesterday.
I know.
So I imagine that she sent us both a text and then she sent you a text separately about libraries, right?
Should I touch on this, John, or should I leave it alone?
Go ahead. That's your topic.
Okay. Yesterday, I mentioned the fact that I spent too much time on Sunday listening to NPR, and they had which I thought was an interesting story. I can't remember which one of the NPR shows this was, but of course at the end of the NPR show, when they give all the credits, they had 42,000 people that worked. They had a technical director, assistant technical director, and assistant to the assistant technical director. That's why NPR is so expensive, because in the regular broadcasting firm, you'd have 3 people that worked on the show. It's sort of like like the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. 200 people work on that show. Okay. I talked about this story that talked about what was going on with libraries, and this particular instance was a woman. I did not catch her name, but obviously the person that contacted me and contacted you knows exactly who she is, because she mentioned that she knows, not only does she know this woman, and she mentioned she was a political archetype, shall we say that? And also, I mentioned the fact that this woman claimed that she had been defamed, and she was actually suing 2 guys who were defaming her. And this person who contacted us yesterday says she knows those 2 guys. Okay, my point being is this library thing has gotten way out of control. Way out of control. And what I don't understand is, why do libraries exist anywhere? Why do across the street from Plastic Front and Back, they rebuilt the St. Louis County Library and made it this fantastic... I mean, the old building wasn't bad. The new building's like, whoa. It's like off the charts, okay? I have 2 friends of mine who've told me the story that the Chesterfield branch, which is not too far from you, which is literally across from Chesterfield Mall, right there. What is that? Is that Chesterfield Park East, I believe? Chesterfield Parkway East or South or something like that?
Yeah, Chesterfield Parkway West, one or the other, yeah.
I was told, West, you're right. I was told that they're going to tear down that building and build a new building next to it, because the old building is, what, 30 years old? Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio rule. You can't have it older than like 20-something years old.
Right. We can't have it. Exactly. You can't have them. What was the one? There's a great joke by one of the comedians that one of the
awards. It was Ricky Gervais.
Where he said.
He went to go see a long movie.
No, he said that it was an award show, and he said if the award show went too long, that Leonardo.
He was talking about a film, and he said that by the time he's like, I don't know, I'm not saying the movie was too long, but by the time it was over, Leonardo DiCaprio's date was already too old for it.
Yes, what a great line. Okay, I say libraries on all levels are outdated. You don't need them anymore. And more importantly, if you say, well, there's some people who need to go to the library, you know what? Once again, we talk about in Franklin County, give everybody a subscription to Starlink that is not served by cable. These people that want to go to the library, just buy them an iPad and give them like a 5G subscription on their iPad and say, okay, here's the gateway to the world. You can read any book in the world on your iPad. You don't have to go to a building. You don't have to go to fancy places, got fancy glass, and a big rotunda and all that kind of stuff. You can just grab this iPad we're going to give you, and therefore we're saving the taxpayer money because of the fact that even though we're spending $800 for an iPad, we're going to spend $30 a month for a data subscription. It's taken care of. They're already doing that in schools. Kids are already getting like the iPads and stuff like that. Everybody's doing that stuff.
I've heard that, Brad. I've heard people that have kids are aware of that. Well, I agree, and I also think that the only library that should be preserved is right off the rotunda at the former Kirby Junior High School.
John, and it's gone. It's where my mom worked. It's gone. They moved it. It's gone.
Yeah, but there's still a library at Kirby, right?
Yeah, but it's in that area that you.
And it's not even called Kirby anymore.
It's not called.
Boy, are we showing our age today, Brad?
Well, since you and I've gone there, it's been 4 different things. I think it's the alternative high school now. It's where all the bad kids go.
Well, hey, listen, Brad. I'd love to stay in chat, but if I stayed any longer, you'd grab me by my beard and throw me out into the street, right? And then I'd have to skip a telephone call that I had scheduled.
And I didn't get a chance to give my medical update, but maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Okay.
All right, let's do it.